Hey friends, welcome back. This is Ashley with Uncommon Roots Homestead, and today I'm joined by a little garden friend. Say hi. And I am in the garden. We had a huge storm last night, and so we have a lot of damage. I actually need to tie up tomatoes, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite tools. Gentle. So actually the first thing that I need to do is go milk Jeanie. I just saw her stand up and the calf is down there, and I'm really hoping that this doesn't mean that the calf is nursing right now. So we'll see. Well, I'm down here. Something very exciting is coming to the farm on Friday. Our pigs. All right, I am back up from milking Jeanie, and I'm in the garden, and I swear sometimes I could just spend all day here in the garden just looking at what's growing, but not right now. I need to check on the damage from the storm and make sure all of these tomatoes and tomatillos are tied up. But look at what I just saw. I know this is not a garden tour, but look at this dahlia. How stunning. Oh, and it's gonna open a ton more. That is gorgeous. The kittens are very angry that I am not in there playing with them right now, but I have got things to do. Also, I'm got my eyes peeled for tomatoes that are blushing because we are right about in that time. Last year I got my first tomato on like June 12th or something, so we're past that this year, so the garden's a little bit more behind, but I also got the garden in the ground late this year. So I don't know that it's necessarily behind as much as it is just a reflection of when I got everything in. But I'm actually really surprised at the number of peppers I have already. Look at all of those poblanos. Oh, this guy needs a support right here. But I got poblanos, banana peppers, so much growing. This little guy, this melon, keep climbing. This little guy, he is just about right. So that's actually one of those new sun golds I just put in. They had set fruit at the nursery, which is not ideal. Usually I would pop that off, but we are later in the season. I was succession planting, so I decided just to let it go and see what happens. The reason you would usually pop that off is that those plants are probably going to be a little bit more stunted. If you let the plants set fruit when they're super small, they put all of that energy and that like growing energy into the fruit versus spending that, putting it into the plant, getting big and strong, and then setting more fruit. So you kind of, it's a give and a take. Because I have so many other tomatoes and that was a succession sowing, I'm not as worried about it. More hornworm damage. Where is that little bugger? Look at all of these little squash babies. This garden is already turning into a jungle. Look at this little guy. That is my first tomato of the season. And look at these eggplants. This is not a garden tour, I have to remind myself. But look at that. I'm so close to just harvesting so much food out of this space. Look at that zucchini. Oh my gosh. And they get big really fast. So those will probably be ready tomorrow. These guys need to stay in their spot. I don't want sweet potatoes over there. Okay, I need to like stay on track. I do not have enough time to look at everything today, which is probably the hardest part of visiting the garden for me because we don't live here. Every time I come down here, I'm like, oh, more things. Look at that. So close. Look at these. Now my tag says pink boar. We'll see if that's right. All right, so that kitten really wants to come out. I bought these this year. So I've used these in the past. I tried to use, like we bought these metal ties and I'm not a fan. It's like way too much work to unroll, cut, and then tie up a tomato. I much prefer these clips. So I had clips in my last garden at the house and it worked pretty well. I've never used clips on a garden this size, but they're pretty inexpensive from Amazon and you can use them for multiple years. The clips that I have at the house, I've used for 3 or 4 years. So I'm gonna try clips again this year. Okay, this is the kind of stuff that I'm gonna clip up. Look at, this is what happens when you buy precious little starts and then you leave them to die. So this is what these look like. They pretty much are they're kind of like a hair clip. And then I'm just gonna take this, gonna lift him up. And in this case, I'm actually gonna clip him to the plant, not to the trellis, because he's kind of fallen to the side. That's that. Okay, so as you can see, I definitely need to do some pruning here. These are out of control. Again, the pruning never stops, but look at how much fruit is set on all of these. They're just loaded. So mostly I'm getting them off the ground so that if another storm comes through, these bottom limbs don't just snap. And I'll come through this week and do some more pruning to let a little bit more air through, especially this middle section. Robin, where are you going? So as you guys know, Robin spends a lot of time over at the neighbor's house. I think he might like them better than he likes us sometimes. But we got him the 2 new friends. We have the 2 new barn kitties. We're keeping them in the garage for now until they get a little bit bigger, and then they will be free ranging on the farm. There are definitely a lot of things that we are still adjusting to, kind of living in the country more than, you know, the city, I guess. I guess that's what you call it. But one of the things we're adjusting to is that when you hear like the neighborhood dogs bark, and none of them are close, I can never tell if it's Fury or another dog. So I feel like I always have to like go investigate, like, is Fury out? And I just can't see it. Always getting distracted. Look at all these peppers. I gotta get a support in for that one. We don't always support our peppers, but sometimes if like one is growing way faster than the rest, it doesn't have anybody to lean on. So usually peppers will just kind of grow really close together and they kind of hold hands and they grow tall. Sometimes that doesn't happen and one ends up falling over. So we'll just support it in the interim until the rest are bigger to support it on their own. But look at these poblanos. We're gonna have peppers so early this year. All of these dahlias are gonna bloom so soon. Okay, so these tomatoes really took a beating during the storm. And you can see we're lucky that didn't just snap right there. had to grab a second pack, but also look at those tomato hands. See them? I'm gonna smell like tomatoes and be green for every time I walk by these. Look how pretty. These are red zebra and they are gonna be gorgeous. I cannot wait. There's a lot of fruit on them too. Okay, so you can see this guy is laid over. Gotta get him up. And then on this side, look at these tomatillos. Oh, so sad, look. Oh, he just snapped. All right, so I have no idea if this is gonna work or not, but some tomatillos are much less flexible than tomatoes. So when these fell over, a lot of them just straight up snapped. So what I did is I took the snap pieces and I just stuck them really deep into the soil. Because they are similar to tomatoes, they grow roots when those roots hit the soil or get close to the soil. So I'm thinking that maybe some of those will make it. I don't know, they might just die, but I'll show you. So like this whole piece, I did this morning. He's not looking great right now, but this whole piece snapped off, and so I just stuck him really deep in the ground. I did it a couple more times. I stuck that one in the ground, and then this guy right here, I just stuck him in the ground. Go ahead and water those, even though we got a ton of rain, just to give them a fighting chance. But I did go through and get all of those tied up. You win some, you lose some. Hello. Do you want to cuddle? You two sure are cute. I mean, seriously, does it get any cuter? Hey. So I get asked, how do I juggle it all the time? And I've told you guys, it's a matter of being able to just let go. And part of that is being able to not only let go of the things that are not going to go exactly how I want them to go, or, you know, sometimes a storm rolls through and my tomato plants get snapped and my tomatillos get snapped and it's not how I want it to be. But a huge part of balancing it all and keeping it together is being able to let go and just enjoy what I do have. And so, you know I talk about this a lot, and I encourage you guys a lot to just enjoy the season that you're in and not stress about having everything turn out perfectly. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you have an opportunity to learn, and you have an opportunity to just enjoy the process. And I am living that out right now, right? Trying to just enjoy this season, just enjoy this process while we don't live here and things are hard and we're commuting a lot and our kids are little and there's just so many other things going on. I'm trying to be in that space and to just enjoy the process and enjoy the learning. And this is my first time gardening in this space. This is my first time gardening at this scale. And so I'm trying to have grace with myself. So hopefully you do too. This poor oregano, I put it in the ground and it just died, but look at, there's some new growth coming out of the side. Guess you win some, you lose some. And look at this chamomile. So what's interesting to me is that chamomile, the flowers are not as fragrant as the foliage, which I never knew until I grew it. And this pesky weed. Ugh, but that mint just smells amazing. You guys know, I cannot visit my garden without spending some time in the herb section. These weeds. But this strawberry mint, so good. Sometimes I just take some time and sit here in this space and think, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that this is mine, that I grew this. I grew this perfect little tomato. Those kittens really want to snuggle, but I already gave them some time outside. I hope that it encourages you to see that we're doing this too, and it's not perfect, and plants break, and I leave weeds, and I walk away sometimes when there are plenty of things left to be done. I hope that gives you encouragement that it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have time to do everything. If I waited until I had the time to care for all of these vegetables perfectly and to, spend hours pruning every week, and, if I waited to have that time, I would miss out on this time. I would miss out on this opportunity to love this space, to share this space, to embrace the sanctuary that my garden is to me in my life. How do I balance it all? This is a gift to me. This makes everything else worth it. This isn't something that I'm trying to fit in my schedule or trying to, balance. This is something that fills my cup and brings me joy. And sharing it with you gives me an opportunity to hopefully spark that in someone else and encourage you that no matter what your season looks like, no matter how busy you are or how many things you have going on, there's time for you, and you make time for the things you want to make time for. And I want to encourage you to prioritize yourself in that. And for me, that looks like spending a couple hours in the evening in this space, in this garden, and letting go of that need to control and to have perfection in this space, because, so much of my life demands that. So much of my career demands that. And so instead, I spend my time in this space letting go and just experiencing nature. And that's what the homestead is to us. It's not only a place for us to learn sustainability and to really get back to the land and to appreciate the value and the sacrifice that comes with food, but it is a place of reprieve. So I hope you find it too, because it's so worth it, and it makes the pruning and the tying up and sometimes the sadness of losing, it makes it all worth it. And it gives me a chance to reconnect with the things that really matter. I hope you find that too. Well, friends, it is about that time. I need to get home, eat dinner. There is too much work to be done in this garden. If I spend any more time here, I am never going to leave because there is way too much to do. Thank you for joining me today as we snuggled some kittens and tied up some tomatoes and some tomatillos and just spent some time here on the homestead. You always have a space here. Until next time.